Right, so here we are. This is the very first time that I've produced any kind of video log. This essentially is going to be a repair session for this little unit. It's the X-SMC3-S. Now it belongs to a friend at work, and apparently the unit is faulty. Doesn't power on whatsoever. So what I've done so far is I've checked the power adapter. This is a little unit here, and just made sure that the actual power supply is working. I can safely say that the power supply itself is putting out the full 19.2 volts, which is what it's rated at. And yeah, so the power supply is working, the actual unit isn't working. Okay, so let me just demonstrate that the actual power supply itself is working. So here I'll place the multimeter on DC and just see if the voltage is present, which it is. There's 19.2 volts, you should see, or 19.19, 19.2. So the actual power supply itself is functioning. It's supplying the correct voltage. So I'm now going to have a look inside the actual unit and see if I can work out where the problem lies. I'll just show you actually briefly that it doesn't power up. So I've got the power in the back, and it's not powering up. All these lights across the top here, well, there is lights there, but they're not showing up. And there's nothing on the display. There's actually a place here on the unit which should have a display on it. So that's with the power in the rear of the unit. Just lift it up. And yeah, it's plugged in. It's not working. So what I'll do now is I'll take it apart and see if I can see any problems there. I actually already have had the case off this, so there's no screws in it at the moment. But you should be able to get an idea of the troubleshooting process, because I haven't actually made any attempts to do any repair on it so far. So let's just open it up now. Okay, so just having a brief look inside here. There's a main board located here, and then there's a board here for all the various controls at the top, the buttons, and it looks like just hiding underneath, down the very bottom here, is another board which the power jack on the rear of the unit actually goes to, so right down the bottom here. And this whole section at the bottom here pulls out. There's a number of tiny little connectors there, so I'm just going to take those out so I can get this board out. Alright, so we're left with this section here. There's not a lot of componentry on there, but this is actually where the power supply plugs in. So what I want to do first of all is just test this and see if there's voltage going through various sections. I'll try and get you a better angle. Okay, so it looks like, just looking at the board here, the power jack's here, and then it goes through what looks like to be either a little, it might be either a resistor or a little fusible link. Might be a small fusible link. Okay, so now I'm going to take this section off and see if I can see what's going on there. Let me just see what happens when I put the power in. Right, so I'm going to measure DC voltage, and let's just see if there's any power coming through the board here. So we've got negative, positive. Okay, we've got 19 volts to there. Let's see that. Put that over there so you can have a look. Alright, so we got the 19.2 volts here. Then where's it gone? Hang on, is that on the pad or what? Okay, I'm a little bit confused. Is it connected? Let's get my magnifying glass. Okay, well, it looks like I'm just looking at it through the magnifying glass. It looks like this is the actual problem. The jack itself has either been bent or something, and it's lifted up a pad. So yeah, I don't know if you can actually see that too clearly through there. Probably not, because yeah, it's a little bit difficult to see, but the pad just right next to the end of my fingernail there, this one seems to have been lifted from the board. So probably somebody's like tripped over the power connector whilst it was in there, and it's just lifted up a pad. I think that's probably what the issue is. So I'm going to hit that with some solder and see how it goes. So I'll just grab the soldering iron. Right, so whilst that's heating up, what I plan on doing, I'll just explain, is just applying some new solder to this pad in particular on the board. This is the one that I believe is lifted. So hopefully if I put like a little small bridge connection in here and solder it, that'll join that part of the circuit back up to the jack, and then I'll just I'll do a quick test on it. I think it should be all that's wrong with it. I don't imagine that there'd be much else that would be a problem. Looks like it's just a physical bit of damage that's stopped it from working. So we'll see in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to place a little bit of a solder bridge in, which section is it? Just across here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of resistor leg and just connect that on and just see if we can bridge this connection, and hopefully that's enough to get it running. So just put some solder on here. Alright, so I think that should do. Put the solder bridge in, so now it's time to put it back together and test if it's working. Alright, so now I'm going to put power on it and see whether this thing fires up. Hopefully it does. Otherwise this video will just be called, I don't know, attempted repair or attempted repair fail or something like that. So let's see if this thing fires up. Okay, moment of truth. I'm not going to put all the casing back on. This should be enough to just test if it's working. So let's try. And yeah, oh, it is. Cool. Okay, I can see some numbers there. Power. What's that say? Hello. Okay. Audio. Oh yeah, there's something coming up on the display. I haven't actually seen this thing power on. What if I can actually use it without the remote? There's a little dock thing down the bottom for like an iPhone. iPod, iPhone. You can actually use it. Hit volume, function. Bluetooth adapter not connected. Okay, so it accepts Bluetooth, USB, FM. Okay, so we've got FM. It's definitely making sound. Alright, so there must be, can I tune it? Function. This FM is working. Okay. Well, that's pretty much it. It's making noise, so I assume it's working properly. I'm just going to put the these panels back on. I don't have all the screws for it, but I'm just going to point the camera back up. Yeah, okay. So I don't actually have all the screws and things for this, so I'm just going to loosely put the panels back on, but it looks like the actual unit's firing up and it's got power and everything now, so hopefully that's job done, and he'll get more use out of it, even with possibility it might get broken again. If that's already occurred once, it might happen again with those little jacks. But anyway, yeah, that's it. I think that's repaired. I'm just going to put the case back on now. Goes on there, yep. Maybe put in a couple more. Another one. Alright, so let's move that back a bit. Alright, okay, so I've got the case back on. I'll just fire it up one more time, just for the hell of it. Obviously, shouldn't be any change, obviously. Yeah, it's still got power. Blue light somewhere. Oh. Hello. Yep, so that's it. That's it. That works. So now I'll give this back and yeah, hopefully it gets a lot more use out of it.